Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So, fresh off of our trip down south, Matty boy, PGA Show 2023 is in the books.
It was a great time.
It was a great time.
Yeah, had a great time.
It was awesome. We had a good chance to catch up with a few of our key vendors, one of them being Cleveland Golf.
Yeah, you had a great interview with Dustin, Dustin Brecky, who heads up the wedge department, I believe.
A new face for us. We haven't met Dustin before.
He's
so
never been on the channel.
Certainly nice to meet him. You know, Jeff Brunsky's someone we've developed a nice relationship with. You know, really enjoy spending time with Jeff, and he spoke great about the product.
Yeah, he gave us a lot of insight into obviously RTX6 and CBX. He talked a lot about the type of player that would play one versus the other.
Yeah.
The versatility has, I think, increased over the years with their more forgiving wedge.
Definitely.
It used to be a little bit more of a clunky, kind of one-dimensional, but you guys talked about it, you're like, well, there's some heel relief there, that's nice. And you just said it off camera, like the grinds in RTX6 and CBX, they're starting to look a little bit similar.
Basically the same. I mean, you've obviously got a little more real estate down at the bottom, which is good for the players who maybe have a lesser control of low point. So it provides that security of kind of, if you're going to do something bad, don't dig, but bounce, bounce up off the turf, and you'll advance it forward somewhat.
It won't be the worst result.
Exactly. So, but I think RTX6 was obviously the big feature
100%.
Down there, and some really nice, like we talked about in that video, Matty, some really nice enhancements.
Absolutely. A lot to do with the face, am I correct?
Yeah. You guys have heard us use that term hydrophobicity. I feel like we've used that a lot, but
it's trendy.
HydroZip is something that they've added to the face. You know, I heard the story. This was actually from our Cleveland rep. They were on a bus on a field trip somewhere, the Cleveland rep, and they were with the engineering team. We had just done a video on about, it was like 5 different wedges. We compared their kind of their hydrophobicity.
We had the spray bottle going.
Yes.
Yes.
And in that test, I think the Cleveland wedge came, I think maybe 4th out of 5.
It wasn't
didn't do great.
No.
And the Cleveland rep Chris had showed it to Jeff.
Oh yeah.
He's like, what do you make of this? And so, you know,
we'll take full credit for this technology.
The thanks to us. But you know, it's part of the ultimate utility of the wedge is being able to play it in all conditions, guys. And like we said in the video with Dustin, you know, Arcos has given us some key information with regards to where we play these specialty clubs, and it's 30% sometimes less from the fairway, and we're doing most of the fitting from nice, you know, clean and dry lies.
Yes.
When the reality is that's not where we hit most of our shots with these things.
No.
Even if it's in dry conditions, but in the rough, grass has moisture in it.
And the flip side of that is, even if it's in the fairway, you might have some dew on the grass.
Absolutely.
You need it in both conditions.
So we do need it. So they've got that. There's enhancement to the groove pattern, the flow of groove design, and in the milling between the grooves, between pitch and wedges, sand wedges, and lob wedges, makes a nice kind of trend. So there's not as much groove to the pattern, the pitch and wedges, because we want those to go the full distance.
You don't want to overspin them and come up short.
That's the thing. Yeah, you're right.
It's a horrible feeling when you got 125, 130, and you're like, I left that 5 yards short.
Hit into a little headwind or something, and that spin acts like a reverse gear, and you just can never get it back to the target. That's not what we want.
No.
What we're looking for is consistency of spin. So the spin enhances as we get from pitch and wedges up into gap wedges, and then up into sort of sand and lob wedges.
And the lob wedge is going to offer you maximum spin.
Yes.
Even for like little kind of short shots when you need the ball to stop.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, so smart. So I think a lot of these conversations, sort of how we left that interview, we were thinking, and you said it in the video, why wouldn't someone play a cavity back wedge?
Yeah.
And we get it, there's +5 handicaps or low single digits watching this going, guys, I hit the middle of the face. I don't need the forgiveness.
Sure.
But for, I would say, you know, at least 50% of the market, they probably should look at these now that the sole design and stuff are advancing and go, why am I not at least playing a gap wedge in a cavity back design? Because the reality is, if you miss-hit something of that size, the MOI is going to be a bit higher than the blade.
Much higher.
The face is bigger. I'm just looking at it right now.
It's huge.
So that's kind of what we want to do today. Mini test of the RTX6 at the same time. But really nail down, hey, like, are there any drawbacks to using a cavity back, and should even someone like me consider maybe the gap wedge of it?
Yeah, without a doubt, Matty. I think, you know, there's wedge technology in a cavity back design, so something that the set gap wedge might not have. We obviously talk about we do more set gap wedges than specialty gap wedges these days. the way especially lofts are going. But is this bridging the gap between that?
I think
it still has face tech, but it has, like you talked about there, it has more forgiveness through the perimeter weighting.
Yeah, 100%. So why don't we start with the gap wedges?
Yeah,
we're going to hit some with both. Okay. I'm going to start with the CBX.
Love it. Okay. Nice strike.
Felt good. Yeah, lots of spin. A little better.
And some.
Just a little more square with the face. They feel good. Pretty good there.
All right, so 3 really nice swings. Good for distance. A little more distance than I thought you were actually going to get.
Just going to say, this seems to be really good for ball speed. I'm curious if the blade style will carry that on or if it will fall back to 126 or so.
Let's see the club data. So you got it in a nice spot for actually toe, so protecting you a little bit from a slight toe strike.
Yeah, they felt pretty centered,
yeah,
so forgiving.
They sounded good.
Yeah.
They sounded really, really nice.
Felt good.
That's lovely. Do it.
Maybe just a hair short. Yep. It's a pretty good one.
Tell you what, I think the golf swing's looking
a little better.
Yeah, really good.
Thank you.
A little surprised. Now there's a little bit of sort of velocity difference.
Sure, I swung a little faster with the other one.
Yeah, launching in a very similar window. Let's have a look at where that strike lay. Yeah, so there's
fractionally higher.
Fractionally higher, so launch will go up, spin will go down on the strike.
That felt great. This is feeling great.
Do it.
Go in. Oi.
Oh. I will say, Matty, it looks like you're clipping these absolutely as good as I've ever seen you clip any.
Honestly, they felt so good.
At this distance.
They felt so good. I mean, I'd be happy on the golf course with those. They felt great. They felt like they had spin. You know how we played some firmer greens in Florida, and the lower shot with spin didn't always work out great because the grab was super late?
Yeah.
I actually don't think it's a bad thing that launch is a little bit higher.
I was saying like a mid-flighted spinner rather than a really low-flighted spinner.
I expect to see a little more spin out of the RTX, but as a easy to use, I set the face up square if anyone's curious, didn't open it.
Yeah.
The ball stopped on a dime. I mean, I have literally nothing negative to say.
That was nice.
That felt lovely. Ooh, come back a bit. Feels really good. Goodness me.
That's the spinny one.
Oh! Felt really good too. That's gorgeous.
It's really, really nice. So really launch is the same, speed is the same. We're really just talking about a spin difference here with RTX6. It's in the elite level from a short shot or partial shot spin range. 8,500 is as high as we ever see. We never see more than that.
No, unless you start messing around with some spin technique.
Yeah. A
straight face 50-yard shot with Vokeys and other good wedges, always 8,500, always.
Definitely. And then you can see a little bit of, in terms of the physics of how it's came out, okay. 1 more degree of dynamic loft, 1 more degree of down. So spin loft perspective, we have got a little bit more going on there. Strike was very, very similar. So the 2 degrees of spin loft is not going to explain 700 RPMs of difference.
No. Is that a CG difference, groove, pattern difference?
Big time on the groove.
Yeah.
They talk a little bit about obviously making sure that these grooves are the sharpest they've ever had.
They play that way. I can see a little bit of golf ball in there.
Yeah, a little bearding going on there. So
yep.
I think from a spin perspective, they're good. Why don't we hit a couple? I really do want to test just with that one. Give it a little spritzy.
Okay, so we'll simulate, at least like morning dew, right?
Morning dew. Oh, there we go. There's a projection.
You need the height on that. Yeah, there you go.
So I'm literally going to spray this as you're hitting it. It's
raining. I love it. So it's raining.
It's raining, Matty.
Okay.
Oh, it's raining.
Well, that face is the ball's soaked.
Soaking.
Let's see how it is. left it short. We'll have to hit another one. It spun though. I know I didn't hit it hard enough, but it spun. That's
I mean, I remember last year it was like 4,000s.
Yes, it was crap. Yeah. To be fair, it was not good. Okay, keep going.
I'm
going to hit one the appropriate strength. I didn't even hit that the best. It's still 7,600.
That's real. I mean, yeah, that's a high strike that caused that.
Let's do this again. I'm really curious about that.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Dude, 8,100 RPMs out of the dead middle of the wedge, soaking. I mean, the ball is literally soaked. The hitting area is drenched. So, what else can you say other than they did a good job? I mean, you soaked the damn thing and it spun exactly the way you want it to.
Yeah. That's impressive.
I'm impressed, yeah. So this is my opinion. The only, we'll go to strike. Not that it's the best graphic. The only reason was I struck it a bit higher in the face, which we know spins a little bit less.
Yeah.
But strike for strike, a soaking wet wedge and soaking wet golf ball launched and spun exactly the same.
Round of applause.
I mean, good for them.
Round of applause.
That's some serious engineering.
That is very, very cool to see. They've figured that out.
Thanks to you, apparently, on the bus ride.
Us, you know. This was it for me. This last piece of the test was
absolutely
the test that I wanted to do with it, because we knew it's a great wedge. It looks good. It feels good. It performs very well. But now we know from a practical standpoint, our customers, when they get out on the golf course, they're going to really perform at a high level in all conditions with these.
And I honestly think that customers are going to start coming in and asking, hey, before you do my wedge fit, only pick wedges that do that well in wet. So I want to test the ping.
Totally.
I want to test now the Cleveland.
Yep.
Because I play at 6 a.m. or I play in the rain all the time. I mean, it would be a condition for me. I'm starting to see. I mean, if that dropped off 2,000-3,000 RPM, that's a nightmare.
Yeah, and if your fitter's not willing to get down there with the brush and squirt while you're hitting, are they
even a fitter?
Did he even care?
So true.
Well, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Really, really impressive. Guys, definitely make sure RTX6 is part of your sort of mix, your matrix, demo matrix mix when you're going out to test wedges. And also the CBX as well. I think we 100%. Were really impressed with how that performed. I
would not just saying this. I think that's worth considering even for single digits in the gap wedge.
Yep.
I don't know if you'd love it in the higher lofts. Now, that's based on conditions. If you play soft conditions, go for it.
Yeah.
No downside.
Be a fun one to do outside as well, wouldn't it? Just get into some, maybe we soak the turf, take a bucket of water and soak the turf and hit both out of some pretty wet conditions and see which sole you can ultimately feel that you can rely on.
Yeah, we got a nice spot for this summer, so we'll be doing a lot of that stuff.
We'll be doing a lot, definitely. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed that. That's another one to add to the mix on our demo wedge matrix here at TXG. Make sure that is one that you try. Obviously, all the usual loft options, 46 up to, we saw even 64.
We did,
when we were down there on the full face wedge options. So tons of wedge options. Tour rack is still something that is available for the righties, not for the lefties.
Is it not for lefties?
I know.
They almost had a perfect review.
Almost had it. But yeah, tour rack is something that gives you the grind options and gives you the options. Maybe with some of those shaping things that you have a preference on, you can request that at a very, very reasonable, minimal upcharge cost. So something to look at there, guys. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, love it.
Good stuff. Okay, stay tuned for more. We will see you again soon.